Damon Allen going long. He's got Jackson. Touchdown! And with that, Damon Allen is the CFL's all-time leading passer.
The minute he took that helmet off, and this is really going to get ugly now. Sellers throwing punches. Everything but the skates now. Back to pass. Hassan Argos coming with a rush. Dunnigan goes long for Stephon Jones. He's open at the 45. Will James Jefferson catch him? No, sir.
Welcome to ESPN Classic Canada. I'm Chris Schultz. Today, we certainly have a CFL Classic as arch rivals Hamilton and Toronto get it on. It's late September 1990, and Al Bruno has been replaced as head coach of the Ticats by relatively unknown David Beckman. Don Matthews is the man in charge of the Argos, and he has his team playing, especially on offense, exceptionally well. Watch how efficient this Argonaut team is with the football in the first quarter. It's Ricky Foggie at quarterback for an injured Matt Dunnigan, and Foggie's ability to move and run is the deciding factor in this game. For Hamilton, Mike Kerrigan's style is completely opposite. He produces in the pocket on timing and coordinating the route running based on his 3- and 5-step drops. Dave Hodge has the play-by-play, Neil Lumsden the color, but Ricky Foggie, he provides the show on ESPN Classic Canada.
In their last game, the Toronto Argos scored 70 points. In their last game, the Hamilton Ticats scored 4 points. Therein lies the preface to this game, and since the Argos will handle the ball first, it batters the obvious to say that it would help Hamilton to keep them out of the end zone on that first possession. The dangerous Michael Clemens will get his hands on the ball. The Argos start with Clemens fumbling it. And how's that for a beginning for Hamilton? Worst in the league in turnovers, and the Ticats just opened the game by getting one from the Argos. No, they don't. The Argos came up with the ball. The Hamilton offense was already on the field, but the Ticats did not recover it.
Well, usually what causes a turnover is an exceptional effort or a great hit, and you get a good hit right there when Clemens tried to come up the field. Now the scramble takes place. It did, as you said, look like Salazar had a shot at it, but Toronto prevailed.
A pat on the back for all of those Ticat special teams players from David Beckman. Ricky Foggie starts. He has racked up impressive numbers in relief of Matt Dunnigan. How does he do when the job is his from the beginning? Romel Andrews makes Foggie run for it on first down, and Ricky Foggie can do that ever so well. He takes a solid hit and bounces off. He's averaging almost 14 yards per rush, and doesn't that make Ricky Foggie a threat?
Foggie last week went over 100 yards. He was the first Argo to do it this year. When you've got guys like Clemens in the backfield, that shows you that when the opportunity presents itself, as it does right here, and Andrews has contained, Foggie breaks that contain.
That's a big difference between these teams. The Ticats, at least with starter Mike Kerrigan, don't begin to have the threat that Ricky Foggie gives the Argos, and it is tough on the Hamilton defense.
A fellow who's described by Don Matthews as a very happy-go-lucky guy. Always got a smile on his face, just can't wait to get back on the field, whether he throws an interception, of which he hasn't done a lot of. He's done one this year. And he just likes to play the game of football.
Maybe the best move made all season by the general manager of the Argos, Mike McCarthy, was getting Rick Foggie off the BC practice roster. And whatever right or wrong was done by the Joe Capillari-Kuharich regime, an obvious mistake was having Foggie in any kind of position to be taken by the Toronto Argos for free. And because of Matt Dunnigan's injury problems, Foggie is ever so valuable now as the Toronto Argos starting quarterback. Clemens catches it. The offense with which Ricky Foggie works includes the pinball and Kevin Smelly in the backfield. Jeff Boyd, Paul Mazzotti outside. Darryl Smith and Andrew Murray are the inside receivers. Up front, the offensive line that starts with Ian Beckstead snapping it back to Rick Foggie. Foggie's first completed pass, gained 5. It's 2nd down and 5. He looked at Clemens again and then decided to run himself, and he picked up the first down.
Well, there's always a concern when you play a quarterback that can run like a Dunnigan or a Ham or a Foggie, that you keep contained on him to the outside, but don't forget about the rush lanes. Because as soon as an offensive lineman can turn a rushing defensive lineman to one side or not, that creates a lane. And Foggie make a couple of reads, and if he doesn't see anything, he will continue to run upfield as he's done twice.
From Hamilton's 42-yard line, the Argos with another first down. Clemens immediately dodged outside as he took that handoff, and now shows you his many moves and perseverance. And this time holding on to the football for another Argo first down. Well, the Ticats and any team will have a tough job stopping the Argos. Here's how the Ticats try to do it with Sellers and Napier, Kowski, Andrews, and Covington. The front four. Daryl Corbin in the middle tonight. Pete Giftopoulos, Frank Robinson. And the Ticats have had a problem in the secondary all season long. Junior Robinson in the middle, Lance Shields and Gary Wilkerson in the corners. Dawson and Jordan, the halfbacks. Foggie threw that one hard, and I guess we'll say too hard for Clemens.
But those are the passes that you expect both the receiver to catch and the quarterback to complete. A quick flat, they're going to take advantage. If they can match Clemens up to a linebacker, that's what they'd like to do.
There'll be a lot said by David Beckman. He tries to make it all positive, but he is certainly vocal.
He describes himself as a very much of a hands-on type of coach.
All sorts of time for Foggie. This is Smith for the touchdown.
Ideal combination for an offense is to have two receivers wide that can go deep, but you're blessed when you have a slot back like Daryl Smith, because he can find those seams exactly the way he does here. His quickness gets him upfield through the coverage, and Foggie makes the right read and throws the ball to the right spot. Hamilton only rushes 3 down linemen and spied an extra man. They're going to need more pressure to force Foggie out of the pocket.
Daryl Smith to the end zone for the 13th time this season. How different this first few minutes might have been if the Ticats had recovered Mike Clemens' fumble. But they didn't, and the Argos are just now getting around to giving the Ticats the ball after scoring the game's first 7 points. Three Argos, Don Wilson among them, down on Richard Nurse.
The drive was 73 yards, and the last play was the 6th play, and this was it. See a little bit of a move, and Smith gets up inside Jordan. He has the position, and Foggie puts it in the right spot. Over the coverage, which would have been shallow, and far enough so Smith could go to it.
Well, if the Ticats have trouble defensively tonight, and it figures to be that way, how about an offense? This is the league's lowest scoring team, the worst offense. They can't run the ball. And they have all sorts of trouble throwing interceptions when they try to pass the ball. The Argos aren't the most fearsome defense in the league, but the Ticats on offense, that may be their biggest problem tonight.
And I was looking at their depth chart the other day, and when I first looked at it, it just jumped out at me. It was exactly the same, except for 2 changes, one at running back and one at receiver, as the offense had lined up against the Saskatchewan Roughriders in the Grey Cup. And you wonder, well, why can't they be as productive as they were last year?
Bit of confusion as to whether that play was stopped or not, and whether he caught the ball or not. Richard Estelle gets credit for a catch and a first down.
Well, the ball was thrown nice and low where Kerrigan should throw it, so it doesn't have a chance to get picked off. There's only one person that should catch this ball, and I think it's a great effort. Estelle gets that right hand out, but not only does he stop the ball, but he pulls it in before it hits the turf.
To the 39-yard line, McAdoo almost got a break going the other way. Almost, but not quite. Quick Parker is there with the shoestring tackle. Kerrigan and Sam Laux and Derek McAdoo behind him. Tony Champion and Earl Winfield, 2 of the most dangerous receivers in their best times in the CFL, would like to get back to those times. There's the offensive line. For the Ticats, Gorell, Schultz, Sanderson, Harley, and Dirks. A loss on the play, back to the 37. Kerrigan gets time to throw it. It's batted down at the line of scrimmage, and the Ticats, rather quickly and too quickly for their liking, send the punt team out.
Well, Kerrigan's a fairly big fixture out there when he does stand back and throw, so the defensive lineman have to be disciplined enough to get upfield and get their hands in the air. And you know, David, I got the impression from talking to Don Matthews that he would like to put Hamilton away and do it early, and they've started by the touchdown, but I wouldn't be surprised to see them do it in other ways, especially on special teams.
See how fast they try to block a punt here. Come pretty close to it, and there is a flag, and that's because Osbaldiston is down. So is Clemens at the other end of this play. They really rushed the punter, Osbaldiston. The Ticats, though, are penalized for holding, and apparently the penalty will be against Hamilton and not against Toronto. Didn't I see Osbaldiston knocked down?
After the flag came first.
Nothing against throwing two. We're going to come back and make him punt it again.
Holding. Hamilton, number 90. Third down again.
Anytime you go after a punter or try to block the punt, the one thing that does suffer is your return. So if they go after it again, Mike Clemens will be left back on his own with very little help as far as blocking.
Well, Osbaldiston was clearly hit on the play, contacted, let's say. No flag for that. It's the Ticats who are penalized for holding. And such bad breaks they don't need. This doesn't help either. A short punt that bounces back into Hamilton territory at the 54. The Argos will take it from there. You're watching Molson Canadian Football Network. Darrell Smith, 13th touchdown of the season, has the Argos in front 7-0, and here they go again, trying to score many different ways every time they get the ball. Clemens shakes a tackle and keeps going. Three Ticats there to bring him down after Mike Clemens does his stuff.
Coming into this game, Clemens had rushed the ball 63 times and caught 50 passes. And I've seen in the last couple of games Toronto leading more to this type of offense, getting Clemens the ball on the handoff. Look what he does. Look at the movement, both laterally. That last move right there that takes him away from a tackler. I've said it before, he's got such quickness moving sideways, not only forward and backwards, but he gets away from people by making them miss.
The Cats haven't stopped anything the Argos have thrown at them yet. Foggie goes outside, and that's Paul Mazzotti for another first down.
Well, even when Hamilton makes a good play on defense, as they did there, Dave, and get upfield and try to take the sprint away, Foggie just runs a little bit deeper, gets to the outside and slows himself down so he can throw the ball.
To the 19-yard line. Argos went 73 yards for their first touchdown. Trying to cap a 54-yard drive now. Wide open for the touchdown is the pinball. And Foggie celebrates another touchdown pass.
Well, anyone who was questioning whether Rick Foggie could come in as a starter and do the same type of job he has done as a backup, I think he's proving it. Again, they get Mike Clemens, they line him up at slot back, and they've got him one-on-one with the linebacker. And there's the difference right there. It's a tough cover for Giftopoulos. He can do it to the flat, but soon as Clemens, with his quickness, takes it upfield and makes a couple of moves, if Foggie's got time to throw the ball as he did, that's a tough assignment for a linebacker.
Clemens and Darrell Smith have touchdowns, and the Ticats have a problem. Clemens is back for Osbaldiston's punt. Clemens averaging 15.5 yards per punt return, 2 touchdowns. Nice and high and perfectly placed. Clemens has not stepped out. He reverses it to Reggie Pleasant. And at a different spot on the field, that might have been a good play, but there was no room for Pleasant to run once he got the ball.
Well, that play was called last game, and Mike Clemens didn't hand it off because he said it didn't look very good when I went to do that. But Don Matthews said, hey, that's all right. Let's do it anyways.
The Argos need 36 points in this game, and at this rate, it looks as though they're going to get them, to pass the Edmonton Eskimos as the highest scoring team in the league. Eskimos, of course, held at 25 by Winnipeg last night, so Don Matthews' team that revels in its scoring exploits and pass the Eskimos, who are on a record pace of their own. We could have two teams breaking scoring records the way the Argos and the Eskimos are going.
This diversity that the Argos are showing too, going play action, throwing short passes and running the ball, helps the offensive line as a unit because it really sets the defense back, keeps them in an uneasy situation. And that means the offensive line has the advantage.
Foggie retreats, throws into a crowd, and is it a catch or is it not? I do not think he caught the ball.
Well, I think he was hit as soon as the ball got there. And you have to have control of it, and if it comes out, then it's a fumble. But right here, Foggie doesn't back out. He feels the pressure, but still tries to stick the ball in there and does that. But the receiver wasn't able to hang on.
Well, somebody woke Glenn Harper up. He wondered why in the world they'd need him, but he's going to punt the ball for the first time from the 46-yard line of the Ticats. Nice punt by Harper, could produce another point, and Winfield will not be wanting to come out with this one. 14 becomes 15-0 in favor of the Argos with still 4 minutes and 6 seconds remaining in the opening quarter. A 54-yard single for Glenn Harper.
Glenn Harper started his career as a quarterback in high school in Edmonton, and he likes the idea of the fakes and the types of systems Don Matthews has introduced because he feels like he's more involved in the game. He was involved in one fake already, completed that pass. He says he likes it.
Had to give up a point to get it, but the Ticats improve their field position and go first down from their 35. Not much room for McAdoo. 2 or 3 yards on the first down run. I just don't know what the Ticats have to do to get this offense going, Neil. You make a good point about the personnel being basically the same as they had in the Grey Cup game, which was all offense, nothing but offense against Saskatchewan last season. Same players, and they cannot move the ball this season.
Well, I can see some individual breakdowns, some years catching up to some people, but certainly not everybody all at the same time.
Blitz on Kerrigan, he throws. Nice job to get rid of it and find an open receiver. Richard Estelle with the catch as the Ticats get closer to midfield.
Middle becomes wide open for Estelle, and that's because you're going to see 2 linebackers, blitz Gaines and Ford. And they're getting very close to Kerrigan, but he's still on his feet, so he knows the pass has been caught, and that's got to help his confidence a little bit because there hasn't been a whole lot to this point.
Short drop, quick pass, Champion running with it. Getting the ball to Champion in Winfield is so important. Here at the Sky Dome late in the first quarter, you're watching the Canadian Football Network with Dave Hodge and Neil Lumsden describing a 15-0 Argo lead. Toronto touchdowns by Darryl Smith and Mike Clemens. The Ticats finally showing us a glimpse of offense that is able to move the ball into Argo territory for the first time. McAdoo, one man to beat outside and cuts it inside. Pleasant made the tackle at the 40.
Well, to get to the outside, you need to take the corner. And Winfield comes down and makes an awfully good block right at the point of attack. Right there. Knocks down Ford. Really gives him a shot. And then there's no one outside to help contain. Downfield, they make the tackle. But McAdoo hasn't seen that kind of space in a few games.
Second, a little more than 2 yards for a Hamilton first down. And it does not get to the receiver, Earl Winfield. Might have been off the back of the head of an offensive lineman who was blocking for Mike Kerrigan or an Argo defender? Let's see.
Looks like Don Moen right there. He's coming anyways on a blitz. He is picked up, but he's watching the quarterback. They don't close their eyes when they rush the quarterback, and he gets off his feet, and he's got quite a streak going. This is his 149th consecutive start.
Osbaldiston tries to get the Ticats on the scoreboard from 47 yards out. Bit of a low snap. Powerful kick, but it's wide. Brazeley gives the Ticats their first point. 15-1 is the score. Well, Don Matthews at the start of the season made a comment about the Argos aiming for 40 points per game. It has almost come true.
Well, the 40 points a game was a goal, and it's like any business that sets up goals for employees. You ought to set lofty goals. Our goal was to try to score 40 points a game, and let me emphasize, goal and try to score 40. That was our goal when we started the season, and it's a lofty goal. We're right now very close to it, but we haven't achieved an average of 40 points a game, and I'm not sure we ever will, but we will always set our goals high and go for them in all aspects, not just on offense, but defense and special teams as well.
Ricky Foggie to the Hamilton 37-yard line, and sometimes they go way past 40.
Again, all we're seeing is Rick Foggie take advantage, and let's call it improvising. He gets to the outside, a bit of a fake. Good block right here at the point of attack by Smelly. The play's where it's supposed to be now, but there's no one open. So what better to take the ball and go with it? Boy, he does stretch out a defense, and this will tire the defense down. Not only the front seven, but the defensive backs. It'll drive them crazy.
Clemens sees no room, and that's because there isn't any room.
Well, that delay handoff that worked so well earlier on in the game was completely shut down by that front four. You're going to see the penetration here. Here comes Beckstead, the left side guard, Chris Schultz. But they don't get a chance to get across the field because Napier-Kowski's upfield, Ramel Andrews. They do a good job of getting into the backfield and not letting the play even get close to maturing.
This will be the final play of the opening quarter, second and long for the Argos. Foggie just did, or no, he did not get the play off before the 20-second clock ran out. So the Argos are penalized for taking too much time.
Violation. Toronto number 14, second down repeated.
That was pretty close. Seemed like he tried and did change the play at the line of scrimmage.
And that'll mean one more play into this first quarter. Second and 17 for the Argos. Mazzotti flanked to the top. Jeff Boyd to the bottom. Boyd is the intended receiver, and it should have been picked off by Stephen Jordan, and he knows it. The Argos will be kicking when the second quarter begins. They'll kick with a 14-point lead.
Welcome back to ESPN Classic Canada. I'm Chris Schultz. With a 15-1 lead, the Argos are in control of this game, and it's because of Ricky Foggie. The one aspect of quarterback play that defensive coordinators cannot prepare for or predict is when that player decides to run. Even if you shadow him with a linebacker, that means Foggie's in space one-on-one with that linebacker, he's going to win that battle. Stay with us because the football brawl will happen at the end of this quarter, and that's always fun to watch. Stay tuned.
Don Matthews' Argos scored the first time they got the ball and the second time, touchdowns I mean. Then came a single, and now maybe another one of those as Glenn Harper will punt. Should be able to get it into the end zone. Sails one close. Winfield at the 1-yard line, and down he goes at the 6 or 7, and might have preferred to be in the end zone. Mike Kerrigan's the starter. He hopes to finish the game, but of course you never know when you're a Hamilton quarterback. He's been pulled a lot.
I think so. I was rotated back in '88, and Coach Bruno came up to me before an Ottawa game and he said, look, we're going with you the whole game, don't worry about it, any mistakes, whatever, and we went on to win big. Hopefully that happens tonight, but you do need that confidence. You can't be out there afraid to make a mistake, and I really don't think I have been, but the mistakes have come and I've gotten taken out of games and really never had a chance to get into a groove, so hopefully tonight I'll find it early and we'll stay with it all game long.
Not yet has he found it, and this will be tough now as the Ticats are deep in their own zone. Pump fake, sidelines, Champion inbounds, but there's a flag. He went out of bounds and came back in to make the catch, and that's not going to be a legal catch. Tony Champion was out of bounds, came back in and caught the ball, and they will rule it illegal.
Well, we talked about how important it is to have Champion get the football. He did step out and he wasn't pushed out by Barry. And as you said, he can't go out on his own and come back in.
So when things go right for the Ticats, they go wrong. Good pass, good catch. But a penalty puts them inside their 5-yard line.
And it was a good call by the referee.
Winfield comes out. See if the Argos might want to attack this play or lay back. They'll sit back and try to tackle Sam Louts, the fullback, and that they do. Quick Parker in on another big play.
Well, the movement by Kerrigan after he dropped back was trying to influence the defense to go to the wide side of the field. You're going to watch him show movement to the right, our right or his left. But watch Don Moen come across. He sits back. He never gets any further than 3 yards from the line of scrimmage. He's watching what's maturing, and he reads the offensive lineman. And when he sees them start to release to that side, he makes the right play.
From the 3-yard line, Kerrigan drops the ball. The Argos fall on it. Touchdown. Rodney Harding.
It's great if you can count on your defense for one touchdown. See Harding drive in there. Hallman come across his face, and Harding comes around to the left. That's a design play. I don't think Harding was expecting to see the ball on the ground, though. He was expecting to see Kerrigan flushed and coming upfield. The ball was a bonus.
Well, Mike Kerrigan's confidence level has to be at a low now. Hasn't been able to move the ball. That's bad enough. Getting hit in the end zone and fumbling the ball, and the Argos getting a touchdown hurts even more. And Toronto has a 21-point lead. There's still 13 minutes left in the first half. The Argos scoring prowess is all the more amazing when you consider that they're doing it without Matt Dunnigan for now his 6th game out of the lineup, and it's going to be another 3 games before Dunnigan can get back, so at least half the season without their starting quarterback, and they could set a league record for points thanks to guys like this. Michael Clemens to the 30-yard line of the Ticats.
Dave Hamilton has made a couple of adjustments in their starting defense to get more pressure on. They've kept Ramel Andrews in, and they've changed the secondary. They put Rockford in at safety and Floyd Salazar in at halfback. But when you've got guys that all aspects of the game, be it running the ball or running the ball after they catch it, Mike Clements continues to amaze me again. The lateral movement, breaking tackles, splitting people, and we're not talking about a guy that's 225 pounds either.
Foggie, a little play action. Not much room outside, so he throws it up. Man waiting for it, and interference should have been, but was not called. Paul Mazzotti was waiting for that ball, and slam, he was run into by a Hamilton defender, and Mazzotti is right now asking, where's the flag?
And he has a pretty good case, and I'm sure Don Matthews would agree. Foggie gets forced out of the pocket. A tough throw when he's running to his left. The ball flies on him a bit, and sure enough, Mazzotti's open when the ball leaves his hand. But watch the defense. There's Salazar going to it, and Wilkerson's backing up. And right there, Wilkerson jumps and turns. He knocks Mazzotti back.
And Wilkerson is strictly looking at Mazzotti and not the ball, and that in itself is
shielding and
supposed to be illegal. Oh well, the Argos are 2nd and 10. Foggie on the move, again nowhere to go. throws and talked about throwing into a crowd. Still made the catch though, Mike Clemens.
Well, even when Hamilton does break someone free from the protection, in this case, Napierkowski, Foggie keeps his cool, settles down and throws a bit of a strike in between, as you said. Pretty good coverage by Hamilton.
Well, it really had to be a strike because that was another ball that could have been intercepted, though the Ticats have been having them drop out of their hands when they have interceptions that are possible. 14-yard gain. Foggie fired that one low to the ground, and it is not caught. Pete Giftopoulos on the defensive side of things for Hamilton. Cats are doing a better job of containing Rick Foggie. He's having to work for his rushing yards, unlike the first quarter when it was almost a free shot anytime he wanted it to run with the ball. End zone open, touchdown! Second time to Mike Clemens for 6.
Like watching Rick Foggie and his movement. Watch how he gets out of the way of potential pressure and then settles down again. Couple quick moves and then settles himself. And Clemens is wide open. Something in the secondary of the Hamilton Tiger Cats didn't mesh. Lance Shields was underneath. Possibly his coverage, regardless of who made the mistake. Toronto was the beneficiaries. You know, the movement of a Rick Foggie or that type of quarterback really does put extra stress on a secondary because they could have good coverage, and when they see him start to run, they get anxious. They want to be able to come up and make the hit. And sure enough, he pulls up, stays lateral, and just throws a nice touch pass to Mike Clemens.
One quarterback was almost a Grey Cup hero, played awfully well in a losing cause last year. The other guy was earlier this year on BC's practice roster, and Rick Foggie is outperforming Mike Kerrigan here tonight. 3 touchdown passes to 1. And Foggie has all that rushing yardage to go with it.
Jeffrey and Abbotsburg. How y'all doing? Eric Streeter, we coming to get you, baby. Want a bag?
Yes, the Argos and the Bombers have home and home dates coming up after this game. And if the Argos win tonight, there's only 2 points separating them before those games. McAdoo taken down on the kickoff return, so the Ticats with 1:33 to go try to get a bit closer to the Argos. Smith has his 13th touchdown catch of the season in his 13th game. That's a record pace, but at that he's still 3 behind Craig Ellis of Edmonton, who caught 2 more last night for 16. Estelle is in the open, and Richard Estelle is taken down at the 35 of the Argos by Don Wilson. They'll put it at the 34, so a chance for Hamilton to answer back with a late touchdown.
Well, Estelle going up that seam, Dave, was wide open. 18, Chris Munford, the safety, went to coverage to the other side, so there was no one closing down that gap. Estelle had inside position, and Kerrigan threw it to the only spot he could, to the inside.
High pass, nicely caught by Richard Estelle. Clock moving down towards 1 minute to go. 1:05 now as the Ticats come to the ball. Quick one juggled by Winfield. It is caught.
I mentioned earlier about Beckman wanting to put Winfield and Champion to the same side. We see it here. Champion's going across Winfield, trying to confuse the coverage. forcing the defense to just hesitate for a second, and the ball had to be thrown quickly as it was, because Kerrigan again doesn't take a deep drop, and the pressure was right on him.
Richard Nurse is down for Hamilton. Kerrigan looking over at the bench. Things have gotten better for Kerrigan as the game has gone on, but Hamilton hasn't done much about stopping the Argos. The owner of the Tiger Cats, David Braley.
Well, we heard Kerrigan say earlier that it's nice, or he believes that the feeling is if he makes some mistakes, he won't be yanked out of the game. I mean, everyone makes mistakes. I haven't come across a football player who hasn't, and at quarterback, they're even greater because they're usually interceptions or fumbles. But a guy like Kerrigan, who has played as well as he has in the past, knows how to come back from those types of mistakes. I don't believe throwing an interception gets him mentally down so he doesn't want to go back on the field. Maybe this is the byproduct of leaving him in and letting him work his way out of it.
Yeah, I don't think anything would have been gained by lifting him, as bad as things have been for Hamilton in this first half. He tries to make him better now. Winfield has got it for a touchdown. His second of the game. Kerrigan's second TD pass of the quarter.
Again, strictly timing. Kerrigan will take a short drop, and he really zips the ball in there. Typical 3 steps. Boom, the ball's in there. Ball's thrown as Winfield makes his cut, and before any interference, like middle linebacker Chris Gaines can sprint to that size when he sees Kerrigan make the move. He can't now get in the way of the pass.
And the improvement for Mike Kerrigan seems to be in shorter drops, quicker passes. And there has been some consistency now to the Hamilton offense in the second quarter. Flags on the convert.
Offside. Toronto number 38. Penalty to be applied on the kickoff. Convert stands.
That kickoff comes with 32 seconds remaining, and the Ticats within 14 again.
This also puts more pressure on the offense. They have to be able to come off the ball in a short drop and not sit and catch defensive players. They have to take that step almost like a run block, aggressively go after the defensive man to stop his progression upfield, because Kerrigan's not getting very deep. Right now the offensive line is responding better to what than they did earlier on in the game.
Does it make any sense to say the Ticats have to be happy to be down only 14 at the half?
The way it started, I think it makes perfect sense.
This game looked as though it could be completely out of hand at the intermission, and Hamilton has hung in there, if not really threatened the Argos for the lead. Toronto jumped into it quickly, 14-0, and that 14-point margin still exists in the final minute of the first half. Clemens goes back to his 7-yard line to get the kickoff. Osbaldiston noted for kicking them deep, and he's to the 30-yard line. 28 seconds, the Argos get the ball. Foggie's going for more points. A catch by Jeff Boyd, and more points are possible after that, and Boyd saw the pass all the way, and the Hamilton defender didn't.
Boyd does a superior job of slowing down, adjusting to the football, but at the same time being very aware that when he's running his pattern, he's already very close to the sidelines. Watch how he gets his feet in. This is just good control.
Jordan spotted the ball and then forgot about it and tried to play Boyd, when if he had done what Boyd did, he probably would have broken it up. Here's Smith. Oh, did he catch that? What an amazing catch by Darryl Smith. Flags down as he spikes the ball. They're going to penalize him for that. But how difficult is this? First of all, to adjust to the ball the way it was thrown, and have the goalpost to be bothering him at the same time. 2 reasons not to catch that, and then a third that it was high, and he overcame all 3 problems.
Well, I don't think there's any question how difficult it is, but this is how you get it done. He not only turns his back, but he slows down going backwards, sideways, and then jumps up backwards.
And took a hit.
Yeah, well, of course.
4 excuses if he hadn't caught it. 6 points because he did.
And those types of receptions make quarterbacks look great.
Rick Foggie has thrown 4 touchdown passes in the first half. And Smith has caught 2 of them for 14 on the season. Well, that's as good a catch as I've seen this season. Chomik converts it with 11 seconds to go.
What's up, baby? We're not done. We're not done.
Now there's another receiver behind Darrell K. Smith, so that draws a little bit more traffic than there would be normally if he was just on his own. See him with the quick wave. It's almost like, throw it up there, I'll catch it. Junior Robinson comes off his coverage. He draws a crowd, but the crowd isn't enough.
Somewhat reminiscent of Tony Champion's great catch in the Grey Cup, in that he was up and falling backwards and knowing that it wasn't going to feel good when he got to the ground.
Well, just when head coach David Beckman believes that his team is on the rail and on his way back, Toronto does something to take away any glimmer of hope.
70 points last week for the Argos. They're more than halfway to that in the first half tonight. Richard Nurse. He is down short of the 45-yard line. 6 seconds to go. The Ticats probably have to think about throwing it long and deep and hoping for something of their own. The Smith touchdown, of course, made possible by the great catch by Boyd.
I think as a coach for the Ticats, you have to, whether you're on the sidelines or up in the spotter's booth, you have to shake your head.
Well, I said the Argos needed 36 points to pass Edmonton. They've got 36 points. As much as the Eskimos have scored this season, the Argos have now scored 1 point more. Winfield out of bounds, but time has elapsed, and that'll be it. Only 51 points in the first half. Now we've got some tough stuff as Winfield is over on the sidelines, and he fires the helmet, and that's it for Earl Winfield. Earl Winfield hit Argo Keith Browner with his helmet, and that brings everybody into it. The minute he took that helmet off, and this is really going to get ugly now. Sellers throwing punches. Everything but the skates now.
The one thing you do want to have on now is your helmet. You don't want to be throwing it at anybody. Don Matthews in there trying to get his team to settle down and get into the dressing room.
I don't think we'll see Earl Winfield come out of the dressing room. Keith Browner was the Argo involved with him. Then Sellers was throwing punches. I didn't spot the Argo who was engaged with Dan Sellers, himself an ex-Argo. But you'll wonder about those two coming back. They got to get Winfield out of here fast.
Well, I think he's out of here, all right.
Good hold on him. And now it's over for the time being. 51 points on the scoreboard, 36 of them by the Argos.
Well, what did I tell you? That was a really good football brawl. Now, number one rule is to always keep your helmet on. A 300-pound man can do some serious damage to your face if you decide to take that helmet off. The Argos, they lost Browner and they lost Schmidt for the second half. But Hamilton, they're going to be without Sellers and both wide receivers in Earl Winfield and Tony Champion. This is significant because the Ticats do make a game of this in the second half. And without those star pass catchers, that is the difference.
Meanwhile, back to the brawl, which ended the first half and has resulted in the ejection of Earl Winfield at the very least. We know he's out of the game. And here's how it started and what developed.
You see the flags come down as soon as Browner hit him. But this is why Winfield.
So Winfield is gone, and so is Dan Sellers. As we keep the tape going, you'll see Sellers, he hasn't got a helmet, and Sellers is starting to throw punches now. Tony Champion has been ejected as well, we are told. I don't see Champion in there, but Sellers and Winfield obviously for Hamilton. Okay, it's not Champion, 87 for Hamilton, but number 87 for the Argos, a 57. That's Browner. Sorry for the confusion, but this is the way we're getting it from the field.
It looked at the time when it started that there's no question that Winfield and Browner, he started, the flags came from a move from Browner, so I don't think there was any question that those two were going to go. But then the melee broke out, as you had said. The decision, and it's strange enough, Winfield didn't know, I don't think for sure, until he got back on the field just before the kickoff when the referees went over to him and said, no, you can go take a shower.
One more time. 5 players have been ejected, and maybe if we can get their names on the screen, it'll be the only way I'll know who they are. Incomplete pass as the second half starts. 3 Tiger Cats and 2 Argos have been thrown out, and you know some of them, they're obvious. Keith Browner and Blaine Schmidt, apparently, for the Argos. And for Hamilton, Earl Winfield, Dan Sellers, and Tony Champion. I'm told that is correct.
And that really hurts Hamilton. With their 2 guys that we've emphasized need big plays from, are out of the game.
And suddenly Derek McAdoo finds himself all alone on Ed Berry and lowers the shoulder, and a big play pass to McAdoo. Where did that one come from?
Well, Toronto comes on a blitz to that side, and as you said, it seemed to come out of the blue. Here comes the pressure, both from the outside, halfback blitz from the wide side of the field, which leaves Berry covering 1 man. He had to come off that coverage and react because there was no one on McAdoo.
The 52-yard line of the Argos. Kerrigan, of course, still the Hamilton quarterback. The 36 Argo points haven't been his fault. McAdoo again. Still on his feet, but no gain on this play.
The success that Hamilton has had in their running game has usually been a little bit quicker as far as hitters go. See the movement of the defensive line? Harding's already going at the snap of the ball to where McAdoo is going. And if you can get penetration upfield and stop the running back and make him restart like they did there, it's very difficult to get any yards.
Both wide receivers kicked out of the game for the Ticats, so Richard Nurse and David Mossman play, and Lee Knight makes his first catch, starting slot back, and the Ticats continue to move the ball.
Knight up the seam. They've had success up that seam. Other side to Richard Estelle, and they should keep going to it. If they get that opportunity in the defense that Toronto's showing them, might as well take advantage of it.
Nurse will go wide to the right. Dave Mossman to the left. Estelle and Knight of the slots. McAdoo has the ball inside the 25.
Well, it seems that both teams have been able to put what happened just before the half aside, and especially Hamilton get down to business and worry about what they have to do. Number 1, play good defense by keeping their offense on the field and driving the football and realizing some points.
The gain was 2 from the 24-yard line. Second down, 8 for the Ticats. Here comes an all-out blitz, and Kerrigan, he throws it up. And Estelle couldn't find it, but they're going to rule pass interference on Don Wilson.
Well, that ball is released and thrown to a spot by Kerrigan where Estelle has to try to get to. Now, Wilson bumps around, and there's always going to be bumps when a receiver makes a cut and there's close coverage as there was there. Man coverage, there's nothing fancy. And that push there by Wilson was why it was called interference.
Well, it's almost as though he was standing his ground and Estelle turned into him, though. Anyway, the Ticats get the benefit of the call, and our first and goal from the 4. McAdoo charges into the end zone for a Hamilton touchdown.
And it's only going to get hotter for David Beckman, but things may cool somewhat. Look at how the defense there, before the ball's even pitched to McAdoo, they're on rollers and they're going to where they believe the running back's going to end up. Nice cut back against the flow. If you can get a defense moving or reading the play, come back against them as McAdoo does there, because it's awful tough to work and sprint to a spot to make a tackle and then come back and make a tackle on a cutback.
Getting to be a habit in this game that flags fly on the convert, usually for offside, and Ticats are going to benefit again by 5 yards, it would appear. Cats have been 7:37 to go in the third quarter. The Argos have the ball at their 31-yard line. Something a little different for the Argos, a handoff to Kevin Smelly.
Smelly up to this point has been used sparingly. He hasn't caught a pass out of the backfield, and I believe that's the first time he's had the ball handed to him, and he really has complimented Mike Clemens well. Up to this point in games, they've been splitting the load, and if you can do that, and Smelly has been able to fulfill all the requirements that they've had, both running and catching the ball.
All the time Foggie had, he still needs more, but he hasn't got the ball. And Jordan, who muffed an interception earlier, now looks at a fumble recovery in the face and can't do it.
The hazards of a running quarterback, sometimes you just never know when that ball wants to disappear. Foggie continues as he runs to keep the ball away from his body because he's looking downfield. I don't think he's made his mind up to run with it. Sometimes your knee can come up and hit the football, and that's what happened there.
So the second half isn't quite beginning the way the first half did for Ricky Foggie and the Argos. Harper will punt again. This much better for the Argo punter. McAdoo is back there, and this is a pretty good return. Out to the 50-yard line. Flags are down as those tempers haven't been put away yet. See how this affects the placement of the ball. The Ticats have it in good shape without the penalty. Up near their 50-yard line. And it's going to be better still.
Objectionable conduct. Toronto number 25. First down.
Keith Kelly, a former Ticat, is penalized, and it's at the Argo 50 now.
Dave, I think back in the first and second quarter and how many times Hamilton had the ball inside their own 15 and really had to struggle to get away from their goal line, even to get a good kick away. They've had opportunities in better field position this half.
Lee Knight with the catch and carries Carl Braisley for an extra yard or two. Going to be a gain of about 8.
Well, Lee Knight just runs a lazy pattern over the middle, lets things clear out, lets the linebackers drop, and then he runs in front of them. And Kerrigan's first reads might take him down or to the outside, but he knows what all the receivers are doing and when he might have to jump off, and he does then tonight. And a great effort to get close to a first down.
He gained 7, so it's 2nd and 3 from the 43. And that pass could have been picked off. Reggie Pleasant stepping in front of Richard Nurse. Pleasant thought he should have had it. 3rd and 3, and what might the Ticats do now? They have Osbaldiston on the field. It would be a 50-yard field goal. We've seen a punt fake. Maybe a fake from field goal formation would be appropriate here.
Very timely, and I'm sure that if we've seen the fake punt, they must have a couple other, not trick plays, but special plays that they can run on special teams.
It's Todd Dillon, the quarterback, to hold. And hold he will for Osbaldiston. 50 yards out. It is just over the bar, and they get 3 points, which makes the decision look very good. So on a few occasions in the first half, and probably at halftime too, there was the feeling that this game was over, but the Tiger Cats, with 10 points in the third quarter to none for the Argos, have kept themselves in the game. Foggie up the middle and then around the end. Still in bounds, another first down. We had him with 81 first half rushing yards, so he's close to 100 now.
Was Foggie breaks contained, goes up and outside. Watch number 20, Gary Wilkerson. Coming in right now. He's got the right angle and everything, but Foggie still gets a little bit of depth and gets to the outside. I didn't realize after watching Rick Foggie, when he had played quarterback, regardless of the situation, that he was that quick. I knew he could run, but...
Unofficially 99 rushing yards for Ricky Foggie, 51 short of Tracy Ham's single game record. Foggie and has Jeff Boyd open. And it's not Stephen Jordan's night. Boyd shouldn't have been that far open on that kind of pattern. At the Sky Dome, this is the Canadian Football Network. Dave Hodge with Neil Lumsden as the Argos hold an 11-point lead over the Hamilton Ticats. 3.5 minutes to go in the third quarter. A high-scoring game was predictable. Argo quarterback Rick Foggie threw 4 touchdown passes in the first half. He's still looking for his first points of the second half, but the Argos now are in a position to get them. Foggie just walked by one man, threw it to Mazzotti, and another great catch for a touchdown by an Argo receiver. Mazzotti rivals Darryl Smith in the first half, and that's 5 for Foggie through the air.
That touchdown pass covered 33 yards. In the time that Foggie has, look at there, he's looking to one side. He throws off a potential tackler, but again, what a great adjustment and a great catch. The concentration on the football, the coverage wasn't there, so Foggie got the ball there.
High snap, but there is the 43rd point for the Argos. They lead it 43-25 as Paul Mazzotti pulls one in. Ticats have 25, which is their average. Their problem is they can't stop Toronto. Chris Gaines intercepts Mike Kerrigan, and this has been a Kerrigan problem all season long, though until tonight he had not been intercepted. He is now.
Kerrigan trying to get the ball deep, but you'll see where Gaines is. He starts off, he gets very deep in his drop, maybe deeper than normal because he knows it's a passing situation. And what he does is he drops to the left, as we saw when the play started, but makes the read on the quarterback. Watches Kerrigan and his head and his eyes, and makes a good jump when the ball's thrown.
Well, if Foggie can get a 6th touchdown pass before the third quarter ends, this record watch on Rick Foggie is not on the line at all. He definitely has a shot at 7 or 8 if he stays in the game.
Foggie going over 100 yards last week. I mentioned earlier he was the first back in the 1990 season to do that for the Argos.
Could you imagine him breaking the touchdown passing record and the quarterback rushing record in the same game?
Yeah. I can.
Again, the big if is if he's in for the entire ball game. Smelly takes a hard hit but gets the first down.
Lance Shields, who normally lines up at the cornerback spot, you see his left leg, he's got an ice pack down on the hamstring. He will not return, which moves Stefan Jordan, number 12, out to the corner. Floyd Salazar will play the halfback spot where Jordan normally lines up.
Half a minute to go as the clock moves while Foggie sets the Argos from the 19-yard line. To the sidelines, incomplete, intending it for Mazzotti, who made one spectacular catch, but that one was just beyond his ability, or anybody's for that matter.
It's a minor quarterback huddle right there.
And Dunnigan enjoying things in his civilian clothes. You'd enjoy it more if he was racking up these numbers that Ricky Foggie is having.
Well, he was playing very well last week until he did pull his hamstring. Foggie comes in relief, does a great job, and continues on that stride this evening against the Tiger Cats, and that has to make Don Matthews feel very comfortable about who takes the snap.
The blitz gets to Foggie, and Darryl Corbin came right up the middle linebacker, and there'll be no 6th touchdown pass this time as the third quarter is over. After 3 quarters, 68 points are on the scoreboard.
So the Ticats, they keep this game competitive here on ESPN Classic Canada. Now, if there is a difference between the 1989 Grey Cup Ticat team and this one, it's definitely on the defensive line. Without Mike Walker playing beside Grover Covington, it is a developing defense, not a dominating one. Mike Walker may have been the best defensive tackle in the 1980s in the CFL. 99 points will be scored in total, and watch as Ricky Foggie ties Tobin Rote's single-game touchdown record with 7.
The Argos must hate to settle for 3 points, but that's the way they line up to start the fourth quarter. Lance Chomick will try a 30-yard field goal. And for the 4th time in this game, the Argos own a 21-point lead. Those latest numbers are 46-25. With almost a full quarter to go.
Well, the Argos have just come off a 3-day break between games, and for the players now the schedule will become a little bit more consistent, at least I hope it will for them, because there were some games in 3 or 4 days earlier on in the season, but that break has given them a chance to sit back and, as Don Matthews said, get our legs back. And he pointed out, don't let what went on in Hamilton last week bother your performance, because ultimately, every game, regardless of your position in the standings, you should be playing for your position.
Kerrigan, a pump fake and a throw, and that's a catch if he's inbounds. They say he is at the 40-yard line for Richard Nurse. And it's amazing the way the Ticats are able to move the ball minus Winfield and Champion.
Well, sometimes the impact of losing players like that will bring out the best in the other ones. They get an opportunity to highlight their skills. And right there, good tight coverage, but the ball was in the right spot. And Reg Pleasant just didn't turn his head quickly enough, and heck of a throw by Kerrigan.
Too tight was the coverage, I think, but the catch was made, and so there's no issue about a flag from the 40-yard line. Kerrigan to the sidelines, and this one is not caught by Nurse. After the Ticats fell behind quickly by 14 points, the closest they've been was 11 in the third quarter, and then the 5th touchdown pass of Rick Foggie to Paul Mazzotti opened it up to 18, and now it's again 21. So the Cats have just sort of treaded water, but haven't really mounted an assault on that Argo lead. Estelle with the catch.
With the linebackers blitzing, there's no concern, as far as Estelle is concerned, that there's anyone in the way of this pass. Ford and Gaines blitz, good protection by the offensive line, and that allows Estelle to just sort of pull up and catch the ball. And Bob Dawson, believe it or not, broke his brace. And as you can see, they're just going to tape it too. They tape everything when it breaks.
Estelle again trying to beat 2 Argo tacklers, and that proves impossible. Mike Kerrigan could wind up with very good numbers in a game that the Ticats were never in, which will sound silly when you look back on it, but that's quite possible, because he's started to complete a lot of passes for a lot of yards. And the Ticats really haven't been a threat to the Argos since the first 2 Argo possessions.
I also think he's going to come away with a little bit more confidence with respect to how he came into the game.
That might help him next week when the Ticats play Edmonton. Oh, that wouldn't have helped if Don Wilson had picked that off. He'd have been able to run backwards about 90 yards for a touchdown. 3rd down, and they'll go for it, and you can't quarrel with this call. Ball at the 25-yard line. They're down by 21 points. 12 minutes left. Kerrigan will be throwing it. Nurse and Mossman, the 2 subs in for Winfield and Champion, of the wide receivers. Kerrigan will start to run, throw, and the catch is made by Lee Knight. He had the 1st down, went back and got it again inside the 10-yard line. Bit of a dangerous gamble by Knight to try to make more on that play than he really needed, but he winds up at the 8-yard line.
Watch 38. When Gaines drops back, he drops into coverage. He's taken that pattern away. When Kerrigan started to run, Gaines came up on the ball, which opened up Lee Knight. A little bit of a dip and a doodle. He gets to the outside and takes it to the 8.5-yard line.
Kerrigan outside and Knight again. Took a hard hit by Pleasant, and he'll be down at the 4, the 3.5.
Lee Knight getting an opportunity to play this year with Rocky DiPietro out. And those are big shoes to fill, but I think when Lee Knight has had the opportunity, we've seen a maturing process. There's an awful lot that you have to learn that you don't learn in training camps and in practice. And he was somewhat of a bridesmaid, being the backup to Rocky. The only way Rocky's not going to be in there is if he is hurt, but he's done very well, and you can see Kerrigan has confidence in him.
2nd and goal from the 3. Another pass. Touchdown. Richard Nurse. The Ticats keep plugging away. They're going to be very happy with their offensive side of things and not very happy with the defense.
Well, again, Kerrigan is forced out, and I don't think there's any question once again with the pressure up the middle. He takes some of that pressure off himself by sliding to one side. And then Nurse, just working downfield, had to get away from coverage of Reggie Pleasant and back up and make the catch.
So it's been 21 points 4 times, and then it gets back to 14, the margin, and that's what it is again. Ticats kicking off from their 35-yard line to Michael Clemens. And he breaks into the clear at the 45-yard line to the 47. The ball comes loose, and the Ticats fall on it. This is the way the game started, but slightly different now. The Cats recover. Clemens fumbled, and Dave Mossman gets credit for that.
Well, Toronto responded to this kickoff with their hands team, expecting possibly a short kick. Looked like they had a pretty good return going till right about there. Good hit from the one side by Bob Dawson. Got the helmet right where the ball was. With Clements moving around, that ball popped out, and I guess a little bit of oil and some tape, and that brace is working just fine.
Well, they've been in this position several times before, down 14, needing a touchdown. It really put some pressure on the Argos. Let's see if the Cats can do it. McAdoo. He's got 7 or 8 yards on 1st down.
This should be exciting for the Hamilton offense. They've got a chance where earlier on things look pretty dismal, but they should be as fired up as they can be. delay handoff. They've got Miles Gorell from the left tackle pulling around. They had lots of beef in front of them. They should just be jumping to get back to the line of scrimmage to get the ball in the end zone.
Argos have a man down. The Ticats try to pull off what would really be an amazing comeback. 4 times they've trailed by 21 points. And a touchdown here would cut the lead to 7. And there's a lot of time left. 9 minutes and 59 seconds on the clock. Darryl Ford, Argo linebacker, is down.
3 plays that he's out, he'll be replaced by Keith Costello, number 37.
Second and 2, the Tiger Cats, you would think, would try to run for this first down. Maybe this is the time to go for broke and try to throw something over the top.
I think this would also be a pretty good time if they've got it in their offensive scheme to go into a hurry up or a fire offense. To try to get on the defense as much as they can. They get them down, keep them down by keep coming after them.
Doesn't look like a pass. They stack 3 backs and give it to McAdoo, and a big hole for Derek McAdoo. Closes rather quickly by Chris Gaines, but it's a first down without trouble inside the 35.
Well, those short yardage plays, as we've seen in the past, when a hole opens up, it opens up quickly, and if the linebacker doesn't make the tackle as Gaines does there, there's more yardage ahead for the running back.
From the 34 of the Argos. Kerrigan to Mossman, and he had some trouble.
Kerrigan still trying to take advantage the way the corners, be it Ed Barry and Reg Pleasant, are playing off the wide receivers. They're giving the receiver 8-9 yards, and Kerrigan's trying to pick away at that. Let's take it 7-8 at a time, realizing there's 9 minutes and 9 seconds left, and that he doesn't have to force it into the end zone right now.
Finds a receiver, and inside the 10-yard line, inside the 5, is Richard Estelle, is having quite a night for himself, as there are a lot of receivers on this field.
Well, Kerrigan has to reload a couple of times. Great move by Harding up front. I think they want to set up a screen to the right side. You see the offensive linemen, they left. The screen was taken away from him, so Kerrigan had to go to a secondary receiver. That's planned, and that time it was Estelle.
First and goal, and if the Ticats get in here, look out. We have some fun at the end of this one if the Tiger Cats can score. Estelle to the corner. It's Nurse rather, and there's a flag down for interference on Pleasant, and Richard Nurse is giving Reggie Pleasant fits.
Not much air under this ball. It's going to go over to the outside.
Forward pass interference. Toronto number 2 in the end zone. First down.
Watch the hand play in close right here. I think he was called with that right hand on the back of Nurse. Either way, it puts Hamilton in a great spot.
1 yard is all they need. Up and over is McAdoo for the touchdown. And the Ticats and their fans are doing all the yelling now, and much of it in the second half. They've cut a 21-point halftime lead to 7, presuming the convert is made. And there's still almost 8 minutes to go.
Earlier on, we talked about that Tiger-Cat-Argo rivalry that had passed by for the last few games, and that it seemed to be spurred on. At least the closest thing we had seen was that fight before the half. But I would say the way the Ticats have got themselves back into this football game, we've got ourselves a contest once again.
We've been talking a lot about records tonight. It was 85 points scored. Only need 26 more to tie that record. Neil, we remember well September the 1st when the Argos beat BC 68-43 in the highest scoring CFL game ever. Here we are again. 85 and counting. Clemens has fumbled 2 kickoffs, and the Ticats have recovered 1 of them, and Clemens protects the ball here. The Argos at their 29.
Chris Gaines, the middle linebacker, looking for a collision. They both go into the air. I'm sorry, that was Elliott that time, not Gaines, hoping for the big collision. McAdoo just made his leap a little bit more inside.
Well, now the Argos are going to feel some heat from the Ticat defense. At least Hamilton hopes so for the first time all night. Foggie from shotgun formation. Little swing pass to Smelly. And the Cats have him wrapped up at the line of scrimmage. Maybe a yard loss on the play. You know, how disappointed is he that the Argos haven't had this game wrapped up, tucked away, and put into the win column already?
I'm sure he was expecting them to just, like putting out a cigarette butt, put their foot down and stamp on the Tiger Cats. And it's not as if they haven't gone down to continue to put the ball in the end zone.
Foggie will be on the move. And what a great run by Ricky Foggie for the first down. It looked like there was no hope of getting the necessary yardage, but again on his own, he did it.
And he does it on his own. He gets close to the sidelines. He ends up, as he has before, stepping up, trying to keep looking downfield, but what an outstanding effort right about here. He gets that first down, and he does it all by himself.
One-on-one on Pete Giftopoulos. He avoided that tackle and then had to dance down the sidelines, and you see what Foggie has done running the ball. 116 yards, the record 150 for a quarterback, that is. He's running around. These yards don't count, though. Looking for a receiver and throwing it far downfield for Boyd, who's got it. Boy, how frustrating for Hamilton when they need a defensive play and can't get one. There is a flag down.
The flag will be against Hamilton. But before we get to that, you have to get to the play, and once again, Rick Foggie keeping the play alive. He just improvises and improvises. You wonder what a receiver does when the quarterback's running around trying to find some spot? Well, this is what Jeff Boyd does. Never take your eyes off what he's doing, and all of a sudden, when the defense leaves you, shoot a flare in the air. The penalty is rough play. A hit after the ball was thrown. Ball's well gone.
No doubt about that. So that adds to Hamilton's problems. Well, if they hold him there, you never know. But it's a series of ifs for Hamilton tonight. Foggie is blitzed and made a good decision there, I think. Get a few yards by running straight ahead and keeping the play and really the drive alive.
Making the only decision he could have made, unless there was a receiver that came open quickly. Junior Robinson from the wide side of the field, from his safety spot, they came in like a wave. And I think right now, having seen Foggie perform this evening, when Matt Dunnigan does get healthy, not a bad combination.
Far from the Argos being conservative, but if they have to settle for a field goal, it's not all that bad here. Their lead is 7. Foggie throws it up. Flag, it's caught anyway by Darryl Smith. Ricky Foggie's 6th touchdown pass of the night, Smith's 3rd touchdown catch, and the Argos are safe again, apparently.
You want to talk about an old-fashioned shootout. It doesn't come any better. He starts Smith to the inside, runs a little bit of a wheel pattern. As soon as he breaks up the field, the ball's thrown. He's got the good position on the coverage of Junior Robinson. The ball's underthrown just a hair, and Smith, as we have seen him do in the past, can fight and take the ball away from what could have been a knockdown or an interception.
So it's very likely that both Craig Ellis and Darrell Smith will break the single-season record for touchdown receptions. Smith is now at 15, one behind Edmonton's Craig Ellis. Richard Nurse's kickoff return isn't much. A late hit on an Argo who is hurt because of it, and no flag comes down. Now that will not help matters between these two teams. Well, let's go back to the beginning. Darrell Smith, 28 yards. And the Argos got the ball again and put it right back in the end zone. Michael Clemens with a touchdown catch. Cats got a single. It was 15-1 in the second quarter. Rodney Harding fell on Mike Kerrigan's fumble in the end zone. Then the Cats started to get better offensively. Earl Winfield caught a touchdown pass, but the Argos answered with another Clemens touchdown pass. And Hamilton came back with a Winfield touchdown reception. But remember Darrell Smith? Well, he caught another one. And it was 36-15 at the half. Smith, Winfield, and Clemens all had 2 touchdown receptions. And McAdoo ran for one. Hamilton kicked a field goal and were within 11. But the Argos quickly produced an 18-point lead on Paul Mazzotti's spectacular catch. In this, the fourth quarter, we've had a field goal by Chomik, a Richard Nurse touchdown catch. Again, 14 points the difference, and then the Cats got it down to 7 on McAdoo's second touchdown of the game. But the Argos bounced right back, and Darrell Smith caught his third touchdown catch. Ricky Foggie's 6th touchdown pass. And we got 4.5 minutes left, so don't go away. Kerrigan threw one into the ground, intended for Lee Knight. It's 2nd and 10.
Wondering if the Argos are going to be a little bit more conservative in their defense. Not bring the linebackers, let the front four have some fun, knowing that Kerrigan probably 9 times out of 10 is going to throw the football. The linebackers drop deep and see if they can roam around and get themselves an interception.
Argos will blitz Kerrigan. And the defensive play is made by Carl Brazeley on Lee Knight. And he needed that, or Knight would have had another first down. The Cats send the punting team on.
Couldn't ask for coverage much better than Carl Brazeley did right there.
If you joined us late, the Ticats have operated in the second half without both Earl Winfield and Tony Champion, both ejected at the end of the first half for fighting, along with 3 other players, 2 Argos and another Ticat. But the big names in the list of players tossed out were Winfield and Champion as far as the effect on the game, or so you thought, but Hamilton has still been able to move the ball despite the loss of their 2-star receivers. What they haven't been able to do is stop the Argos from moving it. Clemens. He is down at the 45-yard line. When you add up all of the scoring points and rushing yardage that Ricky Foggie has produced, it might be one of the great all-time games by a CFL quarterback. And he's not finished. Interestingly, Hamilton's ability to stay close has undoubtedly kept Foggie in this game, and it's going to help his numbers at the end of it.
It's also going to make him a better quarterback because he really hasn't had the chance to weather a full game, be in the situations that he's been in so far, get ahead, have someone come back, and all these are little tests for him in a maturing process.
Well, Ricky Foggie needs one more touchdown pass to tie the Argos club record, which is held by Tobin Rote. The clock moving under 3 minutes with the Argos holding a 14-point lead. One more touchdown makes this the second highest scoring game ever in the CFL, and we well remember not so long ago the highest scoring game right here at the Sky Dome again. Clemens still on his feet. Down the sidelines. Could this be the touchdown that makes it number 2? He is out at the 1-yard line. And 1 more yard on the next play, or the next one after that, makes it the second highest scoring game ever.
We've seen spectacular efforts this evening. Some from number 14, Foggie. But as usual, Mike Clemens has the ability to become scary. Look at this. They've got him surrounded. They've got him down almost. Good block downfield by 88 Mazzotti. He's just a heck of a football player.
Fans mad that it was not ruled a touchdown. They're going to give Clemens a chance to get in, and he takes a loss. And you knew the Ticats would be looking for him.
Well, you sweep to Grover Covington's side, you know he's not going to give up contain. Kevin Smelly makes the lead block. But off that block, Clemens tries to cut inside, but Covington takes the block, dismisses it, and then faces up Clemens. And then waits for help, and he got it.
Oh, could this be another touchdown pass for Foggie because of the loss on first down? He's going to run and pitch, and Clemens doesn't get in. If I hesitate, it's because it's sometimes difficult knowing how to describe a defensive play in this game, and Clemens is down.
Foggie thinking the option to the wide side of the field. Here's the quick fake to Smelly. Now he's out and he tosses it quickly. Good play by Rockford. He comes out, keeps position, but upfield, 20, Gary Wilkerson. Good contact right at the point. Clemens goes down. He tries to get ready for that contact, but they get to his legs. Right there's that shot. And he comes up holding that one knee.
And what about the ball bouncing around there? It was Wilkerson who prevented it. I think that Clemens had the angle on Rockford and could have scored, but the support from Wilkerson prevented Clemens from getting into the end zone. So he's been thwarted on 3 separate and successive tries, and he won't get the opportunity on 3rd down. Matthews yelling in or sending in a play, and the possibility of Rick Foggie going to the air does give him a chance once again to tie the record, the club record by Tobin Road. I shouldn't assume everybody remembers Tobin Road. I do.
Well, I have to think the play that'll be called will give Foggie, if he's in control of the ball, an option, either throw or run, because that's when he's the most dangerous.
He's on the move. There's a flag. Tossing to the end zone, and it is caught on the rebound. If the penalty's against Hamilton, Foggie joins Tobin Road in the Argo record book. It's going to stand offside Hamilton. 7 touchdown passes for Ricky Foggie. And who caught it? Do I have to ask who caught it?
Foggie gets to the outside. Here's his option. He's got lots of help in front of him. Bob Skemp Smelly, but he sees the chance to throw the ball, and of course, it almost touched the ground. Smith wanted to wait till it got a little bit closer.
He's got 15 that were thrown to him, Smith, this season, and 1 that wasn't, for 16, and a tie for the league lead with Craig Ellis, and the scoring derby continues. And yes, we were here for the highest scoring game ever to start September, and at the end of September we're here for the 2nd highest scoring game ever, both at the Sky Dome, both Argo victories in the same month.
I'm surprised after the games that we've seen in this stadium that the roof can stay on. Lots of protection. That's the delay reaction. You got to wait till Smith gets in there, and wouldn't surprise me if Matthews made that signal as soon as Foggie threw the ball the way things have been going.
the month of September for the Argos at the Skydome. We're talking about the 2 games that produced all the points in total. And there was another one, and that was 70 for the Argos against Calgary. Two ex-Lions who've had all sorts of fun here in Toronto.
When you have a game like that, you can say anything you want.
Now the Tiger Cats are tossing the ball around. They haven't finished scoring in their minds anyway. They're down at the 28-yard line. Well, David Beckman wasn't going to forget this one anyway, but he'll have a few other reasons to remember it. Remember my first game as Hamilton coach when we scored 39 points, a couple of touchdowns better than our average, and allowed 60.
I think if you look back over the years too, at least when I was playing, I can remember that the toughest part of the Tiger Cats was always their defense. And for many years, that defense kept them into playoff contention until either injury came around or the offense got going. But boy, oh boy.
Well, the only question now is how high will the score go? We need one more point for 100. And if Foggie gets another chance, he could tie a league record with another touchdown pass.
Well, there's a minute and 23 seconds left. That's plenty of time the way things go around here.
Deep one for Nurse, and he can't catch up to it. The coverage by Ed Berry, so the Argos are going to get the ball back with a minute or so remaining. And we have not seen, or I haven't seen, any warm-up by John Kangemi, so we would count on Foggie being back in there.
Let me ask you a question. If you're the Toronto Argonauts and you're the defensive coach, and after all the excitement of winning a game like this is over, when you look at the tape afterward, are you still concerned that somebody has been able to score 39 points on you?
Well, I almost think the way this season has gone that the Argos probably discount the points they give up and some of the yards too because of how good their offense has been. However, I guess you might wonder what happens in a test, and they might get a couple of them coming up against Winnipeg when it matters more than it does in games like this. Here's Clemens trying to set up the Argos to be in scoring range again, and he's got him to midfield with 1:01 to go. And here comes Ricky Foggie trying for a touchdown pass that would tie a league record held by the general manager of the team he's playing against, Joe Zuger, who was on with us at halftime, and we mentioned then that Foggie was halfway to that record. Joe Zuger, as a Hamilton Tiger Cat, threw 8 touchdown passes. The year was 1962, and it was against the Saskatchewan Roughriders, October the 15th, when Zuger threw his 8 touchdown passes. Now, the players and coaches on the bench will tell you after the game, usually anyway, that they have no idea of records, and they don't have a record book, and they don't read it down there. So we don't know whether Ricky Foggie is aware of what he might be able to do. Well, the guess is that he probably isn't. But the Argos are going to keep giving him the chance. 36 seconds to go, and there is the Hamilton GM on the left. Pensive. Knowing the game is lost. Wondering if his own record will be tied. His own record that stood for, well, almost 30 years. Argos first down, 37 yards away with the clock moving, and it does appear that the Argos don't want to try for that record-tying touchdown pass. Don Matthews is going to close it up.
I think a coach in any situation like this is afraid of being accused of running up the score, and I think that's why we're seeing what we're seeing.
Yet there will be criticism, I'll tell you right now, in the Toronto media of this particular decision. 60 points the Argos have, and there's still people who think that Foggie's chance for the record should have been uppermost in Don Matthews' mind.
So Ricky Foggie, he ties Tobin Rote's record of 7 touchdown passes in a single game, and the Argos, as an offense, score 60 against a rebuilding Ticat defense. Toronto would move on to the Eastern Final, only lose to Winnipeg 20-17. Hamilton, they would finish dead last with 6 wins, 12 losses, and David Beckman, he wasn't around for long as he lost his job after the first 8 games of 1991. He was replaced by John Gregory. That's it for this show. A special thanks to Marianne and John from the Canadian Football Hall of Fame for dressing up our set. For ESPN Classic Canada, I'm Chris Schultz. Thanks for watching.